at the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with.
We have one of our Jamaican sisters that's going to break down who really started the Black Americans are lazy trope and how that, evil lying trope that's spread like an infection throughout the diaspora. Let's go ahead and roll that.
So I want to respond to this quickly because I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in a way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job, right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they carry because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief. It's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
So as you heard, as this sister broke it down, is that the white supremacist was upset that Black Americans wanted to be paid fairly. We did not want no slavery wages. We didn't want no low wages. So what the white supremacists decided to do was, I don't want to pay decent labor. Let me go it on and go to the Caribbean who are still, underneath the British, and let's bring them over here. And then when they come over here, they say, oh, well, see, we bringing y'all in because y'all work hard and they lazy. Well, the lazy was because we wanted to get paid. Just like we became lazy after we stopped working for free with slave labor. You understand? That's where this Black Americans are lazy trope comes from. The author of the Diaspora Wars, and it's not really a war, it's just a different ideologies that we have due to culture, the white supremacists throwing in his confusion. All this mess centers back to the white supremacists. Let me tell you something. People in the Caribbean didn't really grow up around us like that. I'm talking about people in the Caribbean. We didn't grow up around them. People on the African continent didn't grow up around us like that. We didn't grow up around them. You understand what I'm saying? The white supremacists, even when you talk about the African booty scratcher comment that they love to talk about so much, and I tell people, I was called African booty scratcher. And I was born here in America. I wasn't born over there. But you know who the author of that is? The white supremacist.
Speaking of Africans,
yes,
I had Freeway Ricky on recently.
Freeway.
And he said something interesting about Africans. Well, let me see if I can just let me find it real quick.
I just met him. He was cool as shit.
This is Freeway Ricky.
Yes.
Talking about African Americans and Africans.
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Can't wait for this.
That's how Soul Plane got good. It was me and Snoop Dogg.
Or We Can Escape To. You know, this is like everything that we have is right here. You know, even Africa, they don't really accept American blacks. You know, they don't really like us.
There's a friction between American blacks and Africans.
Well, American blacks don't have no friction. They have a friction.
Yeah.
American blacks like everybody.
This is true.
We just like accept anybody come in our community. Oh, come on in, bring your store and all your goods and everything. We'll buy that shit. It might not be worth a damn, but we'll buy it. We'll support you.
Yeah, no, you're right. The racism comes from the African side.
Yeah, we don't have any of that. American blacks, I feel, have been giving away their stuff too long. You know, it's time for us to become more conscious about everything that we do, what we do with it, who we allow to get our money. And I think that once they do that, it's gonna be a big difference. But no, we don't have anything against them.
Hell no.
They have a friction against us.
He's right.
Right, but...
He's so right.
So you're actually agreeing with this?
Damn right. Because
you're African.
And I'm West African, Nigerian, but I was born in Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska. My father went to school there. I have video on my Instagram. Comedian Godfrey, by the way. But it's the truth. Because if you ever remember the movie Sugar Hill.
Yep.
And there's a scene where they're doing the thing with the drug dealer. And the guy said, we can't work with Akata. We can't work with Akata. That's a word that they were calling the American blacks, Akata, the Nigerians. Akata is a word that they use for American blacks. And Wesley Snipes was like, yo, what is this Akata shit you keep calling us? And the guy goes, we don't want to work with cotton pickers. And then Wesley beats the shit out of them. But it's the truth. So African Americans and Africans have always had friction. You know what I'm saying? But Africans, and I know some Africans are going to probably be like, I don't like what you... Man, whatever.
People were upset over this clip. This clip started to go viral on Twitter.
Why are they getting upset at that? First of all, it's the truth. Africans come to America, and there's a lot of my African-American friends say, man, a lot of Africans are really mean towards us. They're really nasty towards us because they feel they're better towards us. And I think it's the wrong attitude to take because I'm West African, but I was born here. My friends are African-American and African. I think it's fucked up because here's the thing. Africa, like whether you say Nigerians or Ethiopians, whatever, we were colonized by Europeans, man. We were colonized. We were treated like shit. Look at South Africa. With all the Dutch, they've shit on South Africans, man. And finally, I think South Africans, with the help of Julius Malema and all these, they're trying to take some of their shit back. Dutch people are fucked up towards fucking black Africans. And the fact that a South African, a white South African calls himself African, to me is fucking ridiculous.